Hello, welcome to this video where I'm going to show you how to simplify your configuration with some of the more recent features added to OliveTin. If you've not come across OliveTin before, it's a simple web application that allows you to run shell commands using big buttons from our web interface. So you can use it for a lot of different things, but in this video we're going to take an existing OliveTin install, which has got quite a long configuration file, and make that easier to use. So in this version I'm using OliveTin 3000, so kind of the more recent release stream, and 0.7.0 is the version I've got. And what I want to showcase and kind of talk about in this video is this ability to break up these dashboards and actions into simpler configs using a new inline actions method, which I need to write a bit more documentation about, and using configuration inclusion. I don't even know if I've got documents for that at all, so I'll go and update some docs later on. Okay, so let's just put that to the side. This is a very simple dashboard I used for time tracking a little while ago. It's kind of a failed experiment. I don't really do this much anymore, but I've got quite a few things in this OliveTin instance. It's just a testing one I use for bits and pieces. But as you can see, it's just got a few dashboards, got a few actions as well. And again, our config file is like, it's 192 lines long. There's quite a lot of stuff in there, bits and pieces for use for testing. But I kind of want to break this up into smaller bits that's easier to maintain. So the first thing we can do is we can see these actions here. So here's my track sleep configuration. Relates to this button over here, obviously. Got track email, there's a button over there. So the first thing we can do is we can now move these into their own configuration file. So you do include. If you've ever administered like Apache web server or Nginx nowadays, like most of these kind of services and servers support configuration file splitting and inclusion, and that OliveTin can do exactly the same. So if we do config.d, that's just the name of the directory that's going to contain our little configurations. And if I go check where I am, so I'm at etc OliveTin, let's make config.d. I can see it there. What we're going to do, we're going to go create that new file. So the config.d / let's call it time tracking.yaml. All right. Here's my empty config. I'll go and dump these actions in here. And I can just simply do actions. Okay. So hopefully that'll work. Let's test. I'm doing this all live, so all typos and all mistakes are genuine. So let's just refresh this. Oh, okay, I've lost my actions. Where have they gone? Let's go and restart just to double check, I think. Yeah, there we go. So we had to restart for that change. My actions are back now. They're over here. You can see that my other dashboards, that one is empty. Service dashboard. So these ones are in the main config. And then the actions here, these are in my time tracking config, right? So they're not on a dashboard. They're part of the default actions dashboard. But the first thing I'm going to do now, or let's say the next thing I'm going to do, is put them onto a dashboard. So previously, if you ever built a dashboard in OliveTin, you would do something like this. You do dashboards, and title time tracking, and then add some contents, and you can add title or track sleep. Okay. Hopefully we can refresh this. Oh, we have to restart this one. So working on some of these config reloadings. Yeah, there you go. So track sleep has dropped out now, and I've got a new dashboard called time tracking, where I put that button on there. All right, well, so that's cool. I can put them on the separate dashboards, and that way my actions kind of default dashboard will drop away. I think most people are kind of familiar with that nowadays. But one thing we can do better than that nowadays, I think, is inline actions. So it means you can put the actions and the dashboards all in one place, like all in one part of the config. And to be honest, this saves quite a lot of like retyping. You have to kind of type the name of the action every time you want to add it to a dashboard. So it kind of saves quite a lot of, I think, mistakes that people would make. So if we go take all our actions over here, we're going to dump them straight onto the dashboard like this. Just use a little Vim trick to indent that 2 times. Cool. And now, so I've got the contents of my dashboard and then the title. So this won't work just like this. What I need to do is say that these properties here, the shell, the ID, and the action, they're part of an action. So, and specifically, we're going to call this inline action. All right. So we've got inline actions. So it's on the dashboard now. So this means I don't have to specify it in a separate actions part. In fact, I can get rid of that actions bit there. Again, it saves me having to type the action name 2 times and kind of reference it every time I want to add it to a dashboard, right? Cool. So let's just copy this. And bear with me while I just edit this out. Why did I have that twice? I must have copied it by accident. Well, I'm just going to go through and edit all this. I definitely could do this a bit quicker in Vim, but you're all watching me type, and that means I make lots of mistakes when I'm typing, and I do dumb things because I'm trying to focus on what I say and what I type at the same time. Okay, save that. Let's just restart. You kind of shouldn't need to, but I'm just going to do it anyway for the demo. Hop back over here to our dashboard and refresh. Okay, cool. We've got our actions dashboard over here. And hopefully, again, this is now part of the time tracking dashboard. Yes, it is. So I'll just go to another one just so you can see. So this is the time tracking dashboard. So the end result looks kind of exactly the same as what we started off with. But we no longer have the kind of the default actions dashboard. But what we have managed to achieve is we managed to take away a lot of the repetitive config from the first YAML file. And now we've just got one file that defines all my time tracking stuff in one neat place. So if I kind of go back here, okay, I've reduced my config from 192 lines down to 158. And remember, those actions weren't already on a dashboard, right? So some of these where I've got like my container control panel, I could reduce that massively because I'm not repeating myself all the time, and stick it all into a single files edit. Some of these are a bit funny, right? I've got a big inline SVG here if I was using for testing. Anyway, so the idea is that with this new feature of inline actions, so this bit here in particular, so inline actions, coupled with, told you I make typos when I'm doing videos, coupled with includes, means that I can hopefully simplify my configs, make them more easy to maintain, make them kind of less error prone, making typos all over the place. You just have to reference the action name once. And also my big hope is by doing this is that we can then put common dashboards into a YAML files and then share them with each other very easily without worrying about sharing some things from a config that maybe you don't want to share. All right, thanks very much for listening. I hope this was okay. I'm a programming person, I'm not an audio person. This is the first time I've tried to set up some audio effects to make my audio sound hopefully a little bit less terrible than it normally is. So do let me know if the voice recording and the audio sounds reasonable. Most of my other YouTube videos have horrendous audio. Hopefully this is less horrendous. And I hope you found this useful. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.